Well, part of the crisis facing the Democrats is that they are doubling it down on that leftist lunacy you mentioned, and part of that is attacking Elon Musk. I mean, these unhinged, demented, hate-filled attacks against Elon Musk, labelling him a Nazi, a threat to democracy, and sadly, it's backed by the media, some of this hysteria, and this is something Joe Rogan touched on recently.
Because right now they lost to Trump. They're in this scattered thing where they're trying to on everything he does, hide all the good stuff. You didn't hear a peep about Elon rescuing those people. That should have been on all of the news stories all day long. It should have been a huge national event. We're finally going to rescue the astronauts who are trapped in the space station for 8 months. And this super genius, this Elon Musk character, is the guy who figured out how to go get them. His company went and rescued them because we can't do it anymore.
He's 100% right there. They were stranded there for months. It was supposed to be a 7-day mission because NASA couldn't get them. So Elon steps in to do that. It's successful. It should have just been a moment that united the country, this moment of triumph. And yet it was barely covered because it helps Elon Musk, it helps Donald Trump.
Well, what I find so funny about these Democrats calling Elon Musk a threat to democracy, they didn't think it was a threat to democracy having a brain-dead president, Joe Biden, for the last 4 years. That wasn't a threat to democracy. Open borders, hundreds of thousands of people pouring through the border every single month, bringing fentanyl, drugs, and crime, MS-13, Tren de Aragua. That wasn't a threat to democracy to the Democrats. All of a sudden, Elon Musk, who has an American-made electric vehicle company. This is the guy they are waging war on. I think all of these people who are burning down Teslas, burning down dealerships, storming dealerships, you all are domestic terrorists. Tom Homan and Kristi Noem need to snatch you up. They need to put you on the planes and send you to Guantanamo. We can send the women of The View to Guantanamo, Meghan Markle, and then also these people who are vandalizing Teslas. You guys can all go together because Elon Musk is trying to find waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government, right? Throughout history, the person trying to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse is usually the hero, but because he's working with Trump, suddenly he's the boogeyman to the left, Rita.
How complicit is the media in these attacks we're seeing against Tesla dealerships, against Tesla drivers? 61-year-old woman was beaten. I mean, I've shown some incredible footage in recent weeks of just violent domestic terrorism. There's no other way to describe it because these attacks are politically motivated. Do you hold the media at all accountable for some of this behaviour?
So I do hold the media somewhat accountable for this behavior, the burning down Teslas and storming dealerships, because these networks like MSNBC, they're the ones who are talking to these rich, white, liberal, affluent women, and most of them are the ones going and protesting outside of Tesla dealerships. Most Americans, they got to go to work. They don't have time to stand outside a dealership with a little sign and doing a chant. They have to go and provide for their families. So I do hold MSNBC accountable, but they did this for years, right? They called Donald Trump a threat to democracy. They called him a dictator. They called him a Nazi, Hitler, a fascist. They smeared Donald Trump for years, and we saw the horrific repercussions of those smears the last few years.
Now, the Democrats have been called the party of miserable women and weak men, and you've spoken about the beta male phenomenon. Explain to my audience what you mean by that and what that means in the political climate, because we are seeing more and more young men gravitate to the right whilst women are going increasingly to the left.
So I've been talking about this a lot recently. We've seen polls, we've seen focus groups. Tons of men are shifting to the right politically. They're leaving the Democratic Party in droves. They're identifying as Republicans, as MAGA, as independents, as MAHA, because the Democratic Party is unrecognizable. They can't even define what a man or a woman is. So how is that inviting to men? And also, the Democratic Party, like you said, is run by a bunch of beta males. If you look at Tim Walz, he's a beta male. You look at Cory Booker, beta male. Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer. And then you look at the women on the forefront of the Democratic Party, Elizabeth Warren, Jasmine Crockett, Congresswoman DeLauro. They are shrill, obnoxious women that no man wants to spend 5 minutes listening to. Men are also tired of apologizing for their masculinity. Men are tired of on the left having to say, I'm so sorry. Was I mansplaining? Was I being toxically masculine? Was I sitting with my legs too far apart? Was I manspreading? Men are tired of this malarkey, this tomfoolery, and it's why they're shifting to the right.
Well, a man who's kind of presented himself as a alpha, masculine, Alec Baldwin, well, after that interaction we saw on the red carpet, perhaps that's not what he is, and there's been more fallout from that Alec and Hilaria Baldwin interaction, that humiliating video. I'm not going to show it again. We know what we're talking about, where she berates him on the red carpet in front of everybody. Now some industry insiders are speaking out, saying that Alec has terrorised movie sets for years, and this is karma. Link, what have you got to say about that?
So I guess this could be some kind of karma for Alec Baldwin, but for all the men out there, listen to me. If you choose to procreate with a woman who is insane and crazy and has multiple personalities and thinks she's from Spain when she's from Boston, don't cry over spilled milk. Don't cry for me, Argentina, when things aren't hunky-dory at home. So Alec Baldwin, he knew what he was doing. He had 7 kids with Hilaria, even though she's really Hillary from Boston, okay? She's from the Spanish coast of Boston, I guess. So if you go to bed and have 7 kids with a crazy woman, don't cry over spilled milk. I have no sympathy for you. Alec Baldwin, you made your bed, lie in it.
That is harsh, but you know what? I cannot get over this fake Hispanic accent and forgetting English words when she's not Hispanic, she's not Latin. Where is she getting this from? Before you go, how is Hollywood in general coping with a second Trump term? Is the hatred for all things Trump as deep as it's been in the past? Are they finally realising it's probably not a good idea to alienate at least half the country, or are they too set in their ways? Are they disregarding the box office and focused on their activism?
So I do think there is a little bit of a reckoning and a wake-up call happening in Hollywood. You kind of have to hit them over the head with it. They really have to have some big flops to come to terms with the fact 77 million Americans voted for President Trump, right? Republicans, MAGA, they have buying power, they have purchasing power, they go to the movie theaters. They are not going to put their money where their mouth is for a project that denigrates everything conservative values stand for. And that's what we've seen in Hollywood. Hollywood has gone so woke, they've gone so left, they've gone so progressive, they tried to denigrate the nuclear family in this country. So I think unless they start embracing these Republicans and 77 million Americans who voted for Trump, they will continue to fade into obsolescence. Like we saw with Sound of Freedom and some of these films the last few years, there is money there. Republicans will go to the box office, but the movie has to be good and it has to speak to them.
Yeah. Yes, and it can't patronize and just be ticking boxes. This is what we are seeing with so many productions, whether it's TV or movies, where they have to have the DEI checklist completed before they actually worry about whether it's a decent product or not. Link Lauren, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.